When we talk of democracy, we mean true representation, and the parliament is the place. And therefore, the people must be informed. A program that brings to you expert clarifications and teachings of parliamentary concepts and procedures. Welcome to this program.
Thank you very much.
On Parliamentary Guide, we'll teach, we explain, we clarify parliamentary concepts and terms.
Hello and thank you for joining us on the program Parliamentary Guide on NTA Parliament. My name is Lami Ali.
On Parliamentary Guide, we'll teach, we explain, we clarify parliamentary concepts and terms.
Today on the program, we are privileged to have with us a distinguished Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He is none other than Senator Jimoh Ibrahim. Distinguished, you're most welcome on the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes. Now, let us start from what has just happened at the National Assembly. That is the passage of the 2024 appropriation bill, which was laid before a joint session of the National Assembly by Mr. President. Now, tell us your feelings about the passage of this budget.
Well, normally budgets should be passed within the year preceding the year that is going to happen. So 2024 is the year in action. 2023 ending is to know what exactly we're going to do and where we'll be in 2024. Now, budget is a guide. It's a financial statement, a law that guides expenditure. And again, it's also costs. So in the budget, we have two sides of both the costs, what we're going to run, what cost we're going to run in the year, what we call the current expenditure, and of course, where is the income coming from? The significant thing about the budget this year is the fact that the capital project is almost at par with the current expenditure. And that makes me very happy because it means that it's not about payment of salary alone, but it's about doing some projects that have to do with development of Nigeria. And that is very important. That's critical. In the past, we see budget with capital project of 20% or 30%. In actualization, 7.5% achieved. This is very bad. And that's what I put the nation into this nonsensical and financial dangerous lane. But with a budget, which is almost at par, 8 trillion into capital projects, at par, we recorded about 9 trillion. It's a fantastic budget. What worries Nigeria is about external debt. That shouldn't be a problem. GDP to debt ratio is 30%. In Nigeria, in the United States, it's 135% GDP to debt ratio. In England, is 105 GDP to debt ratio. In China, it's 45. In Nigeria, it's 30%. So we still have that much room to borrow much money if we choose to do so. And don't forget, the borrowing market is not going to be there forever. It could disappear. So government borrowing about $8 billion in the year 2024 is not too much of a burden. What the area where Nigerians are concerned is the fact that money borrowed, the servicing of debt ratio is about 95%. But GDP to cash is 1.3%. It means your cash is poor. So when Tinubu took over the government, the amount of cash available in the vault is 1% of the nation's GDP. This is very embarrassing. I mean, that's the worst you can get in the world. And that's the reason why we have this. So the debt service ratio shouldn't be a very worrisome or something that is of converging complexities to the economy, because don't forget, like I rightly said, that the debt to GDP ratio is still at 30%, and that is fine enough. Infrastructure is put at very high. Expectation is high, so I believe that the budget will be well implemented, and then of course we should be able to fly a bit, cruise at a reasonable level in 2024.
Other points of note in the budget is that both chambers, that's the House of Representatives and Senate, have increased the budget size by 1.2 trillion naira.
No, not exactly. It is that where revenue increases, you have to match with projects. It's executive exigencies that increase the budget. Not that we sat here and we're going to put project in the budget by ourselves and increasing the total outlay. That's kind of that's what we were saying. Okay, for example, I get an example. There was a movement of the oil reserve price at 700 to 800, about that's an increase of about 50 naira or 750 to 800, per benchmark. So that increase, what do you use it for? You have to increase the project in order to be able to compensate Nigeria for their long waiting. So that's exactly what has happened. It's not as if National Assembly is sitting there. We in the National Assembly cannot write budgets. You know that. It's not our duty to carry our pen and be writing budget. Appropriation, it comes here for us to look at it and see what is happening. So the question we ask is that your benchmark is low. Give me the statistic. For example, I do know that between January and March, the weather is so bad in England, even now it's bad in oil-producing country, that you will need serious navigation to access the dredging of oil, and that will mean that the price will increase because supply reduces. So, honestly speaking, Nigeria will make money within this period of the first quarter. But when the weather is bad, everybody goes to production with oil. Courtrooms, cases are coming up, judges are still writing in their long hands. You need to computerize the courts, and you really have to pity our judges. Circumstance and condition in which they put themselves are not good. And don't forget, as so Bola Ahmed Tinubu promised that he will improve judiciary plight. So when it comes to office, so now you are in office, you have to honor those pledges. So any surplus that comes from revenue, you drive it to the judiciary, and then you drive the security section so that you can have a fantastic 2024.
Well, the budget has been passed, and Mr. President, we believe, is going to assent to it. But it's not Uhuru yet, because there's a great deal of job for the lawmakers to do that is oversight in 2020.
Yes, and that I can assure you we will do. And the executive is cooperating with the legislature to ensure that any minister invited must be here. Any minister question must give an answer. You see what we did in gas. We brought them in our hands. Where did the sprite for 230 billion coming from intervention? And I think the central bank governor has stopped all this intervention project that the central bank was doing to waste national resources. I mean, you are intervening, giving 11 people about 230 billion for gas and all that. So it's our duty from January to start going around and ensure that the budget, the implementation is fantastic, is excellent, and things are going on. And we ask questions about it. It also doesn't mean that we can do their job. We cannot do their job. We are not executive, we are legislatures. But within the framework of our agenda of development and the actualization of the mandate of Mr. President is concerned, because I say Mr. President because that is the mandate of Nigeria for now. So be that as it may, we make sure that the implementation is successful. And once that happens, it means we can get 90% of the budget actualized. That would be fantastic. And Nigeria will start flying at the rate you wanted it to fly.
Now, personally, would you say both chambers of the National Assembly have done a good job of scrutinizing the budget, being that the Fiscal Responsibility Act provides that at least the budget document should be laid 3 months before the end of the life cycle of the old budget?
Yes, they did a good job because there's no urgency here. Remember that we had a supplementary budget, and we have extended the lifespan of that supplementary budget to March next year. So usually you see have a budget now that is looking at you, from January. But you have a supplementary budget that you are going to also implement till March. So you have a double phase, fantastic idea. So there's no any rush. We did a fantastic job. We might not be perfect. No human being is perfect. You know that. Even in America, you don't have a perfect budget. So it's part of what budget is a guide to see that you are not running foul of your revenue against your income or your capital project against your recurrent expenditure. So it is not that national. Even if you get it 1 year, what will you do? Will you write a new budget? You just have to look at the budget and show that figures, we are looking at accounts, balance accounts. We are not looking at accounts oscillating between fair and courage. Courage that the figures are not balanced, and then fair that the unknown is put in the budget. And for the first time, the National Assembly is not at the neck of the executive to say, give me X, Y, Z before you pass the budget. I think we are more civilized and bigger than that.
All right, we're going to take a short break now. The program is still Parliamentary Guide on NTA Parliament. We're going to take a short break, our dear viewers. Do stay tuned as we shall be back and continue the discussion with distinguished Senator Jimoh Ibrahim. Do stay tuned.
On Parliamentary Guide, we teach, we explain, we clarify parliamentary concepts and terms.
All right, thank you, our esteemed viewers, for staying tuned. The program is still Parliamentary Guide, and our guest is Senator Jimoh Ibrahim. So before we went on the break, we were talking about the budget,
Yes.
the 2024 appropriation bill. Now, what the president presented in his submissions, he said a large chunk of money is going to be used on developing infrastructure and security. Security being a very, very major concern for Nigerians. Since the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, one of the motions that has been consistent are motions that have to do with security. What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, let's take infrastructure for example, because that's where I did my PhD on in Cambridge, at the University of Cambridge. There are 11,886 mega projects. Mega projects are projects above 10 billion naira. Now, there are 11,886 of church abandoned in Nigeria before the assumption of President Tinubu into office. Now, do you sit down and look at 11,000 projects at federal level abandoned? I didn't reach out on the state government abandoned project or local government. I just take the federal government. Now, out of this 11,000, 3 of the project abandoned are equal to 60% of national debts. Name them. Ajaokuta, you have $6 billion. Shiopi project, you spent over $4.5 billion. Now, Second Niger Bridge, you spent close to $5 billion. If you add these 3 together, it's about 70% of your national debt. What's your national debt? $70 billion. Then you have about $36 billion, in 4 projects. Now, what will be the amount of projects in about 20 projects, 1,000 projects, 5,000 projects abandoned, 10,000 projects abandoned, up to 11,886 federal government mega projects abandoned. So, National Library, for example. So, it's very important that we face infrastructure. But the entire budget cannot even fix 3 of the abandoned projects or 4 of the abandoned projects. So, government have to take it in gradual proportion. The more of the abandoned project you release back into operation, the better for your GDP. All right, the better for your economic gains. But if you look at it and you continue to do projects and abandon them without completing the ongoing projects, then you are creating more problem to Nigeria. Nigeria problem is not Hausa, Fulani, Igbo, Yoruba. No, and I say no. Nigeria problem is abandoned projects. If you finish Ajaokuta, for example, now in Ajaokuta we have 25% of our total cash into importation of iron. If you finish Ajaokuta, you have retention of 25% of your budget value of 28 trillion. Retaining locally. Look at that impact on the naira against dollar. Look at that impact on employment. Look at that impact on availability of iron. Now, if you finish Second Niger Bridge, look at what you gain in terms of people traveling and economic activities to the converging eastern Nigeria. Look at Hadija projects, in the north. That's the irrigation project. That project is abandoned. If you activate that project, so you won't see any malam take any cow from the north to the south to go and look for green grass. Because if Hadija is working, it provides water around, the grains comes up, the cow take their food from there, they are not reason to travel to anywhere. So this abandoned project is a focus that Mr. President promised, don't forget, in his inaugural speech when he won the ticket. And he's working on it to make sure that at least even in 4 years, you can do 10 abandoned projects out of 11,000 whole lots. Then there will be a solution. So it's important that the budget significantly this year has taken note of that as a foundation. Now, the second issue you asked about, apart from infrastructure, is security. Look, we spent $1.2 trillion on Boko Haram. Now, if you do domestic socialization, you probably spend 10% of that and you solve Boko Haram problem. So, security is important. It's not only Boko Haram. Amateku is also in the southwest, fighting insecurity. And we cannot say that to be secure is to live in an insecure society. That will not be it. And our soldiers are busy with a lot of domestic complexities emerging from national insecurity, such a way that we lost many of them. And that's why we have this badge in their remembrance. So the key issue is that security is very important. But security for who? Security when and where? These are the focus that government have to spend money on. And we just have to look at this. But I think the real problem is about the fact that there's emphasis on state security as opposed to individual security. So the apparatus of government or the hegemon have a lot of security basket of personnel around them. That will not curb our insecurity. The key point is individual security. If individuals are secured, the state is secured. If the state is secured, global geocentric political system is secured. But if individuals are not secure, the state cannot be secure, no matter the apparatus of security you put on the state. But if individuals are secured, then of course the state will be secure. If states are secure, international organization cannot be talking about Ukraine and Russia and so many other insurgencies that we talk. For a budget, for a moment, it must hang on security. But this time around, security or the paradigm must shift from state security to individual security. So individuals are secure, then the state is secure. But you cannot secure the state against the individual. And you saw that one when there was this Lekki crisis the other time, the civil yes, as you saw that. Because individual, the kind of one person led to a massive concern for the state. Also in the World War I, I think in the 19th century, 1918, the First World War, the immediate cause of the war was assassination, Frederick, who was assassinated, and there were convergence of countries to countries creating problem. And the entire war, because of one person that was killed, went into the First World War. So that's about individual security. So we must be more conscious and we must tailor the budget toward achieving individual security. So the question for us in the Senate is to ask security people, what is your program for individual security? Not state security, mind you. But like we said, if individuals are secure, the state will be secure. So these two issues are very important. And I think from the metrics, I did PhD in war at the British War College, University of Buckingham. You can see that the security dilemma is not as bad as it used to be a year ago. I'm sure you know that yourself. There are not a Boko Haram attack in Abuja, in major towns, or Amatekun had not been seen to be violent and all that. Thanks to Akredolu who set that up before he died. So in the east, we also have security apparatus. In the north, we have. And I think that security is about converging every institution to achieve a result. One person cannot achieve it. And there must be alignment in the policy process of every of the security agencies. So you cannot have military doing X, Y that is not focusing on individual security, the police apparatus, and the paramilitary organization. So at the Senate, we look at the budget within the view of individual security as opposed to state security. Because there's only a amount that the hegemon can have of the police in his house that can make him secure. You can see that from NSAS in Lagos. What is key is individual security, and I think we are getting to that.
I remember the last time the commandant of the National Defense College, when he came calling to see the president of the Senate, you were there, and you also made some inputs. Now, in your opinion, what are the security agencies not doing right, or what should they do better so that all the efforts that are being put in place will be result-oriented?
The problem is the curriculum of the security institutions, from the NTA to police academy to paramilitary institution to the university teaching security. One, there's no any university in Nigeria that award a BSc degree on security. Isn't that funny? And you want to be secured. No university in Nigeria is awarding a degree in security. Now, no security in Nigeria awards degree or master's degree on security. No security university in Nigeria runs a PhD on security. I got a PhD on war. So overall speaking, we look at all of this. Now, the curriculum is tailored towards state security. which you can take trajectory back to the olden days where we say the king is secured, and whoever the king wants to kill, he kills so easily and he does whatever he likes. We are moving beyond that in contemporary politics. And when I was advising the military last time when they came here, I told them to change the curriculum to hang on teaching of models on individual security as opposed to state security. And I think they will be able to do something about that. Then again, the university in Nigeria should then come up. But again, if you ask them to come up, who teaches these modules? At the University of Fortune proposed that we are doing in those states, I think we have some courses hang on this. You need to have people that have master's degree. It's not about carrying gun, attending military training. That is not it, alone, because now security is fought by modern technology. Now, in the next 10 years to this time, the hierarchy in the army will disappear. So in my thesis, for example, I've noticed that will you be able to see people called general, captain? No, because even a sergeant may have things that are important to solve security problems. And he cannot tell his commanding officer, because the commanding officer give a direction that you must all follow, whether it's wrong or it's right. This is being challenged in the military. Now, the military have a restricted document. In democratic society, nothing can be restricted because the military will not set up its own email. It's going to use the general email. So there is a serious distilling of information into the emails that will leak out. So the military need to repackage itself, to ensure that they are in conformity with contemporary ideas of politics. As a matter of when I was in British War College, I met some of them, and I was a civilian, and I heard a lot of the generals there, and these are the views we hold. That, look, you need to go back to the curriculums. The curriculums are saying nothing about security, and yet the entire life of yours hangs on whether you are secure or not. Then the budget of individual. Individuals don't even know they have to budget for their own security. So people buy bulletproof, they buy different type of cars, they build houses, they travel abroad, they buy tickets at 9 million, 8 million, but they never spend 1 million around their own security. So the consciousness is not there. It's not everything that government can do. Individuals, you also know that a certain amount of money from your salary will have to be spending on security. Modern security these days. If I'm living here to my house, I know security gadgets are put in place. I don't need to have siren. I don't need to blow. So it's about contemporary development that the security system must take note of it in time of intellectuality. And that's what we call it military intelligence.
All right. So on a final note, in the budget too, again, that's where we're going to conclude.
Yeah.
The partnership between the governments and private entities for us to get out of this situation of abandoned projects.
Yeah. As it is now, the government is doing well, and I'm being honest with you, because those who are doing businesses are not being harassed by this current government, unlike the previous government that harassed you up and down. And don't forget the impact of globalization. Globalization means that you can go to the next border just without any restriction to entry and put up your business. If I'm a Nigerian citizen and the government harass me in doing business, I move to Dubai. What do you need? You don't even need. If you buy one flat in Dubai for about 2 million dirhams, you get a 5 years golden visa. In fact, now you get 10 years with golden visa. So what are you looking for here? So a lot of money has moved to all these countries where Nigerians are investing. I have a bank in Ghana, for example. Why should I have a bank in Ghana? Because I'm afraid that government could come up with all sorts of story tomorrow. Then what I need to do if the environment is good is to bring my bank from Ghana back to Nigeria. We have a bank in Sao Tome. We should bring it back to Nigeria. Aliko Dangote has a lot of cement factories all over the country. Why do they have this? So ditto many politicians, many business people, you don't even know the profile of their investment. Now, if I go to England, I have 10 years visa. I go to America, I have 10 years visa. In Dubai, I have permanent residence. So tell me where I cannot do. What again is your restriction in doing business? And this government is now saying, wait a minute, we have no reason to harass you. If you commit crime like EFCC is doing fantastically, they will still collect the money from you. But they don't need to publish you here and there, but they will still collect the money. They won't close down your business, but that illegality that you did, you are going to pay back to the government on that. You are going to, any money you exhausted for people, they will take it back. If you have a tax issue, for example, continue to run your business, but we'll take this tax from you, whether you like it or not. It will be too long. If you are owing a debt, we'll take it back from you. But not when your family name is put on the headline of the newspaper. If you don't owe in doing business, how do you do the business? It's either you are stealing government money or you are doing something funny. I can't see somebody who has a balance sheet of about 100 billion naira and is not owing bank. How will you do that without owing bank? How will you even do $25 billion turnover, naira turnover? They require you to have a plane if you must keep that business movement. So therefore, we must look at the impact of globalization. We must also take away the pulling syndrome and understand that the world, the ecosystem, the global system, the geocentric politics is attracting people to come to their country to come and do business. Like Kenya, free visa. Visa at the point of entry. Just buy a ticket, you are there. Next day, you start your business. And so these are the issues that I have seen. If you are not stealing, then why will you not do your business very well? You can't do business with proceeds of crime. That is not right. And that is what the EFCC is saying. But it is not, again, that we are going to judge you even before we investigate you. So you have made, concluding statement. For example, I have a situation whereby one of our companies had a deposit, large deposit in the bank, and then you come to say, we are owing, how do you owe? So these are the kind of things that you look at. But under this regime, the regime is saying, we are going to the best of practices that international system allows. So you could do your business very fast, and you have no reason to carry our hard and foreign exchange to another country to benefit. And I think this is the way to go about it. So the Corporate Affairs Commission, we're going to look at their laws and how long does it take to register a business. The tax system, you can see what the Chairman of Revenue did when he came. Fantastic. He waived interest and penalty. He didn't waive tax. You are owing a tax of 200 million, come and pay. But under normal situation, you should pay interest plus penalty of 21%. But he say, give me 200 million between now and December, I waive interest and penalty, but if you don't pay, I charge it in January. Fantastic way they do tax. And that is, if I'm in Dubai, there's any form of tax.
Thank you, most sincerely, distinguished Senator Jimoh Ibrahim. It's been an engaging 25 minutes. We thank you very much. And our esteemed viewers, this is where we come to the end of this edition of Parliamentary Guide. Our guest has been distinguished Senator Jimoh Ibrahim. Thanks once again for being with us.
Compliments of the day.
So we urge you to join us next time as we invite another personality for discussions on other issues concerning Nigeria. Thank you so much.
On Parliamentary Guide, we'll teach, we explain, we clarify parliamentary concepts and terms.
Run over